Well, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am just about to set off to go to visit my friend Gill Stewart for lunch. It's a couple of hours drive, but look at the glorious weather. It's going to be absolutely stunning, and on the way I will let you see some of the things that we pass. But yeah, it is. It's going to. Gill is an artist, and I really think that you're going to love meeting her. The first stop is our local vegetable market, where I'm going to pick up my weekly veg. And look at this view. So I'm incredibly lucky to have this wonderful vegetable market at France Farm, which is about 10 minutes drive from my house. So I have my vegetables, and my next stop in Scotland. But I'm going there to pick up a coffee and then head to the church. When I did wedding flowers, I was lucky enough to do the flowers in Lust Church a few times, and it is such a lovely spot. It's got one of these old, very sort of like higgledy-piggledy graveyards with lots of soul in it, I suppose. I thought I'll just get a coffee there, wander around, and then get back in the car for the main part of the drive. There are a couple of reasons why I wanted to bring my camera along on this trip to see Gill. And the first, of course, is that she has created such beautiful interiors and gardens in this little cottage that she lives in. And everywhere you look, there are beautiful details and things arranged almost as though they're still lives. But the other reason is that I think that Gill is doing something really interesting. She and her husband George used to run a gallery, and a couple of years ago they stopped doing that. And instead she has been working on ways to spread her creativity about and to encourage other people to explore their creativity. So here we are in Kilmartin, and I have been told to look for the blue shed.
Ah, Jane, hello.
Hello, hello.
In you come.
I shall open this.
In you come. Welcome.
Such a treat, yeah. Right, I'm going to come and give you a hug.
It's lovely. Lovely to see you. It really is. I would like to show you my tiny studio. This is one of 3 places that I work. Living in a very small cottage, I have to have different places that work for me in summer and in winter, and according to the light. So this is my little hideaway really, and it's very small, but please do come in. And one of the reasons that I thought I would show you this is very often when people want to, I'm just going to say paint because that's what I do, but create whatever it might be. It could be sewing, it could be any number of things. You think, oh gosh, I need to have a whole lot of space, and probably particularly with paint because you all your materials and that kind of thing. But you know, you don't. All you need is a tabletop. A lot of people, and a lot of really famous people now, have started at the kitchen table, and it's all you need. And you can easily put yourself off, talk yourself out, and say, well, I'm not going to do anything until I have this lovely big studio. No, start where you are, and take it from there. Now, this little space for me, it was for I think it was my 60th birthday, and I just wanted somewhere outside that I could come to in whatever weather. So the doors here open right out, so I can be sitting here painting, but also I can sort of be outside. If the rain's battering down, I can close the doors. I can be out here in all weathers. I don't have electricity, but I just run a cable. So if it's a bit dark and a bit gloomy, I have a nice old angle poise here that I can work under. And it's just a space to get lost in. And I think we all need that, particularly in this day and age. It's somewhere where you can come and you can be quiet. I don't allow social media in here unless I'm doing a little video to show people. It's just time for me to connect with the creativity within, and it's my personal dialogue between the paint and between the canvas. And one of the things I'm hugely passionate about sharing, I don't even know if I like the word teaching, but sharing, is this is available to everybody. We don't have to come with a view of having a finished product. Come with a view of playing. Yes, you need to learn the principles, you need to learn about values, you need to learn about colours and how they work together, but that's all, you know, becomes a muscle memory really. It's about connecting with your individual creativity and letting that happen and letting the paint talk to you, and that is hugely exciting, and it's for everyone. There's a lot of mystique around, you know, being an artist. So if you're somebody that hasn't painted before and would like to, please do. There's nothing to be afraid of, and you will get lost for hours, and it will be good for your soul and your spirit. And in these days of busyness and all the stuff in the world, we all need that. We all need that.
Some questions about...
Yes, it's all ramble on and on.
Yes. These little things here.
Yeah.
What are they?
Right, these are a real fun thing. So this is a little pile that are all they're all works in progress. So this kind of will illustrate a little bit actually what I'm just talking about. So none of them are finished works yet. I have just started by playing with paint. I have a sense that they are going to, they're going to veer toward the abstract, and the colours, you see quite a lot of the colours here, they're a similar palette that I've mixed, because those were the feelings, the emotions if you like, that I had on that day. So I start with choosing my palette. This will not be representational in any shape or form, but it will be a glimpse into, that's my hope, something that has captured my imagination and arrives in the form of paint. And I hope it kind of, sings in a sense, that story. So that's what they are. I'm trying to see.
Oh, I was just wondering whether it also helps people who really struggle with approaching something when it's the blank page or the blank.
Completely, absolutely. I had a lovely friend that visited the other day who would dearly like to paint. I should have perhaps got myself a bit more set up here, but my paint's inside. So you just put some, I wonder if I was working inside earlier. Anyway, here is, let me see if any of that is wet at all still. It might be, it might not be. So I'm just, so you would just start with, obviously, you know, that's mud now. But this is something I'm working on. No way finished. So you just start, you make marks. You let that dry, you think, oh, that needs me, I had my paints, my imaginary paints, squish, mix up another colour, apply, keep going, push and pull the paint around until it starts to speak to you and you see where it's going. Like this one down here, I started, and I'm still working on it. I wish I had some paint now with me, Jane. So I started on this. Now you will see the kind of West Coast palette that I'm working on. And I just pretty much took a brush. It would be a much bigger brush than that, one something like that. So, and I would just, you know, work from my heart. I was trying to capture the sky and the sense of the quiet drama of that day, and then with some darker pinks, you know, looking to have contrast, light and dark, a suggestion of the islands, a suggestion of the rocks, sea kind of worked in, and then it was actually looking really quite pleasing to my eye, and I thought, no, it's not finished. So I took sandpaper like this, and I sanded it all back, right back, to see what was then coming forth. I thought, oh, I like you. I'll start to work with that. So that area then becomes your inspiration. So you apply, you mix up some more paint, you start to work back in, you start to push this this back maybe, you might want to pull this forward, and that's just all about playing with the paint until it starts to speak to you and tell you where it wants to go. And it's just immensely rewarding and easy.
Lots of people find, I think particularly painting, really, really daunting.
Yes, they do.
And I kind of feel that that's maybe a school thing.
Yep.
That you were either good at painting, whatever good was meant to mean. Usually, in my experience, it meant very hyper-realistic. Or you were not good at painting. I think lots of people just carry that on.
They do, and even right into adulthood. I remember a class that George was taking a long time ago. This lady would be, I think she was early 70s actually, and she had this real desire to paint, maybe late 60s, but she'd been told at school that she wasn't any good, that she didn't have the talent, and it just would never be her. And she had believed the lie. She believed the lie. And this is such a common thing that people come. I would say that's the most common thing we find. People say they've been told. It's been an experience that goes right back to school, usually to school. Or maybe you have parents or siblings or whatever as well, but very often it will be from school. And they just believe it. And it's not the truth. It's simply not the truth. So anyway, she got kind of liberated into paint, and she went on to become a successful painter, and she sells some of her work, and that's joyous.
Yeah, I mean, my mum, who is now in her mid-80s, she didn't ever paint. She wanted to go to art school, and she had to get a job when she was 16 instead, and she didn't take up painting until I think her early 70s.
Yeah.
And now she sells her work and she teaches.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're never, that old cliche, you're never told. It's true. Some seaweed that has found itself into a little book. If I can lay my hands on, I'll show you. Behind here, these are all, you see my palette. This is a stay wet palette, so you just get it. Well, I use an old tray. You can use these kind of plasticky food trays if you have them, because you can just keep reusing and not throwing out. Wet paper towel, tracing paper, greaseproof paper. Then when you're finished with that palette, you can throw it away, but I never throw them away. What I like to do is, coming along, here's a couple that have been palettes I've been working on. So I keep them, and then I might cut them up and work them into a painting. So this one, I can just reach that. This one here, there's a little painting up here that's still having work done. So I might think, oh, a bit of collage would be really interesting in here. So what I might do, I might cut a piece of this out and I might integrate it into that painting. Or what I might do is something like this and really crush it up. And this is just what I've been working with. This is simply a palette. Anybody can do that. You see, I actually quite like that. I can see a painting in this. And what I might then do is be working on, say, something like this guy. And I might just cut some of that up. I would use my PVA glue and I would stick that, I would cut it to suit, obviously, stick that on, use something like gloss medium, which will just kind of seal it. It's a bit like a glaze over it. And then I'll keep painting. I have literally mixed up a palette of different blues and greys, and I've painted that on all over, and sometimes I've, you know, there'll be some sea behind, there'll be some rocks behind, and then I have pasted on, collaged on. There's a whole lot of writing under here, there's some music here. That's then also some paper like this collaged on, and then I've painted a suggestion of a painting on top. This is all play, and more down here. And then I've taken some acrylic ink and I've just dripped it on, and I've got some netting here, which, you know, you buy things from the supermarket, lemons or whatever. So I keep all of that stuff. So a bit like, you know, upcycling in a sense. And that's to sort of suggest maybe a fishing net. This is obviously, it's abstract, so it depends what you see in it, really. And this was started as an emotional response to something in my life, and I've sort of got this far with it, and I've left it here now, and I'm ready to come back into it. And I know the areas that I want to keep, and I know the areas that I'm going to push back. So I need a little bit more light here. I need a little bit more contrast. I need to draw the eye in and around to see what do I want you to look at, what do I want you to see in this. But this all starts by just playing. So this is a process. This is not finished. It's a process. This one here, you know, this is just simply, none of this is finished work. It's good for people to see not finished work. So I've just used the masking tape here, sectioned it off, mixed up a palette, just gone after it, added bits here and there, and then torn off the masking tape to see, what do I see? So I can already see there's some little pictures forming in here. There's more that I can do. I could make this into little paintings. This one over here, which I thought I was finished, I would say now I'm not. That was working with a limited palette, which, as you can see, was pretty much the warm tones with a little bit of contrast with the yellows. And then I wanted to kind of just apply some flowers not representational, over that, and make different marks and just see what the paint spoke to me. And you just play away. You build up, you push back. You maybe people would think, oh no, I'm not so sure about that bit. I'll just put that as a bit more lightly. I'll just sand that off. And it's just such a tactile thing. It's a process, and it's all in the process. That's where the magic happens, and you will end up with a painting that might not be what you expected, but you absolutely love it, and you think, oh my gosh, did I do that? Just do it because you love it. And if you love a piece of work that you've created, somebody else will love it too, because it's come from you. It's come from your authentic self, if you like. There'll be other people that won't like it at all. That doesn't matter, because we're not all going to like the same things. But there will be some who do. So just create what you love. Learn to create what you love. And there will be others that will love it too. And you will have started on a journey that is just very, very exciting. And even, I mean, I've been selling paintings for about 30 years, and now I'm embracing a slightly new process. And it's quite scary, because I can take this and I can paint a West Coast seascape, you know, quite easily, and I can sell that quite easily, because I've done that for many, many years. But I'm wanting to push the bounds. I want to push myself in another direction. And I think that's always a very helpful thing to do in anything that we're doing, not to get stuck where we are because it's safe and because we know it. And if we do that, we're never going to know the possibilities that might have been. But we have to take a risk in order to discover that. And what is there to lose? It's just paint.
So can people come here now to your shed?
Absolutely, yes, they can. So something that I have been thinking would be a lovely thing to do is to, because we don't have a gallery now, to open the cottage and offer people some workshops which will suit a beginner, somebody who's never painted at all, some who are more practiced, some like me that just think, oh, I've got stale areas, I would just quite like to discover some new freedom. And they can come, and there are different areas starting in this little shed after a time together in the cottage, and people then want to go off and just practice what we've been talking about, and maybe me demonstrating whatever they might want from that, and then come and find a little space. Some people like to come and be on their own, so they can come and just sit here as I do, have this as a little workspace. If the weather's lovely, throw these doors open, the birds come, they'll even come and sit here on the table, and you can just, you know, sort of paint away until we kind of regroup again. The space in the cottage, if the weather's poor, there's always room to paint indoors. And outside in the garden to the front, looking over the glen, there's about 3 or 4 different places where we can paint as a group, or where, again, you can choose to go individually. The workshops won't be large. I want them to be, yes, in part for the size available, but more importantly, I want them to be an intimate experience. I want people to come to really feel, to get lost for the day, to get absolutely lost, to kind of, you know, just slip off the shoes of the life that we live every day and just come and create. And I want to be able to give full attention wherever it's needed. I think that's really very, very important. It's something I'm deeply, deeply passionate about. So yeah, so it's a bit of a dream. It's a bit of a dream for me. So it's a new thing for me to have workshops happening at home. That's a new thing. But if I don't step into the water, I'm not going to know, am I? I've got a lovely group of ladies coming, group of friends, and they have bought their friend who had quite a special birthday. It's going to be her birthday present, and the 3 of them are going to come, and we're going to work with possibly flowers and paint. We're still to make a decision on that. So that will be a very tailor-made workshop for them. And that's the kind of thing. It can be for yourself, it can be come with a friend, it can be whatever. And I just think it's a nice idea. People are looking to more experiences really than maybe have a present, a physical kind of present to unwrap. And what a lovely way to spend the day.
Yeah.
And if the sun is shining out in the garden as well, wonderful. But the sun doesn't need to be shining.
Your house is just so special. It really is.
It doesn't need to be.
Wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah, it just doesn't need to be shining. I've had great workshops, just the weather has been totally wild. And yeah, the time has been good.
Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. I think I found it now. What I've been looking for. Isn't it beautiful? It's got my head all up in the clouds. I think I found it now. Everything I want might be a miracle. Sunshine, I got sunshine, I got sunshine. I gotta let you know, it's so incredible. I'm finally letting go. Up, up and away, yeah we go. I found my flow right on time, and now I know what it feels like to shine like gold. Sunshine.